A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at NSSF Financial Literacy. This is yet another year, 2023. Earlier today, we had a discussion. Should we be having this year? Should we be having it in this situation, in these economic times? Should we be discussing money right now, or we discuss all the other things about appointments, about not who's being disappointed, and all those things? And then a couple of people came out victorious, and they said, you know what, whatever is going on, the my personal finances have not changed. I still get money as a person. Me as a person, probably still need to listen to this information as a person. So thank you so much. We are now coming back, and regardless which situation, we shall always be coming back. War, peace, we shall still be coming back to you and talking about these things, because guess what, money is a constant. The lack of it, or the sufficiency of it, may be a constant in your life, and we need to talk about this. So, as usual, my name is Mboa Apollo. I am the headmaster of this school. Over the next 2 hours, we are going to convene ourselves into a school, and I need to ably introduce myself to a good panel here. While you are referring to me, it is Sir Headmaster, Sir, in this school. Yes, and you make sure that you say it with emphasis so that you do not get a retake. So, while I was telling this panel here that we all go through school, and I've been saying, I say this over and over again, but I'll continue saying it. We all go through school. On the panel today here, we have PhDs, we have S6 leavers, but one thing is common. All of them said they had nothing to do. Nothing was said about money while they are pursuing their studies. So this is a chance when we get back to P1, to baby, to P2, to university of school, the school of money. And as usual, the headmaster doesn't have to be the one with the biggest number of qualifications. So I am your headmaster, and please respect that. And we will do this for the next 2 hours of today. And the topic today is starting out right. How do you start out right? And I went ahead and I said, even now we are saying start out right, because even last year we said something similar. And we are going to take the poll to see the effect. But we're also cognizant of the fact that there are some of you who are first timers, and we are still bring this message. This message will never get old, because our problems sort of repeat themselves. So we need to start out right. Even now, we need to start out right. Even when you did not hit your targets last year, we need to start out right. Even when you hit your targets and you surpass them, this year you still need to start out right. And my job is to just introduce this program. And as usual, if the live stream team is kind enough to share with you those slides, our objective of doing this is, one, we need to reverse that statistic of poverty, the statistic of people who receive their NSSF money or any other money, and it has a very short lifespan in their pockets. We need to reverse that statistic. We need to build a financially empowered membership and national citizenry. This is not about NSSF members, it's about the entire nation. So we need to have this talk. We need to talk about money. We need to have this conversation. We have quite a number of conversations on European football, the English football, all those things. But let's also have a conversation around money in our groups. We need to have members, and the population segments have options through their life cycle. While you are working, what are the options? What are the financial options you have? If money stopped coming today from your regular source of income, what options do you have? I was talking to a group of people, and they're saying, me, the option is one, I will die. You should not have that only option to die. When COVID came, one of the only option was go for your NSSF. But can you build options while you're still in employment? That's why we do this. And the bigger picture, again, is still the same. These numbers, we've been doing this for the last 3 years, but these numbers are still disturbing us. They're still staying the same. 5%, and I will always dwell on that number, 5% of people retiring financially independent, only 5%. 95%. So you look at the last 3 years, the last year, people who retired, and try to check where they are right now. And that will give you the full picture. I will also tell you that NSSF continues to pay because it's our obligation to pay members over the 7 benefits, so we pay. And when we lump up the payments, 70 billion leaves NSSF to its rightful owners, the members, every month. Every month. But just to give you a caption, the last 3 months are usually heavy. The last 3 months, we churned out about 400 billion. 400 billion in the last 3 months. Left NSSF to its members. Where is that money? We are also asking ourselves. We need to challenge ourselves and say we need to see this year starting out right. I welcome the audience. I see it's a huge audience coming in, and I welcome you. Just to remind you that share your questions, whatever the questions are, as long as they're related to NSSF and financial, personal finance. Share them on our media, on our social media platforms, on our Zoom, on the Q&A. We are live on all the social media platforms. We are live on Family TV, and Smart TV will be airing this while not live, but it will be airing this a little bit later. Allow me to just, before I part and introduce the panel of experts. As I always keep reminding you, there are no experts in money, but it's just people with experience. Each one of us has experience, but for this time I'll just call them experts. But just remember that at the back of your mind, they are not experts in money. They are people like you with experience, different experience. Where we are, and I will not dwell so much there. Excuse me. But I just want to check. I just want to leave you with a few tasks for this year. And feel free to pick out any of these. This is just, let's call it the headmaster task list. And you can challenge yourself to just pick one thing from this list. This year, 2023, I want you to check your company. What is your company? Who is your company? Who is your friend? And one of the action items you need to know, if you are to mark yourself before you come to the headmaster for marking, you will be marking yourself. You checking yourself may mean you dropping some contacts. May it mean you getting out of some WhatsApp groups. May it mean you stopping frequenting some places. Check your company this year. Confuse your neighbor. Confuse your neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you some of this challenge. Just pick out 1, 2, 3, or 4. But confuse your neighbor. Do not live like everyone expects you. Live on your own terms. And your terms, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to lie to you, but your terms are dictated by your pockets. Live on your terms. And then your terms means you may have to live below your means. Drive a Vitz. Let your neighbor be seeing you coming. You work with Bank of Uganda, but you're driving a Vitz. Let them be confused. They don't understand you, but for you, understand yourself. Confuse your neighbor, ladies and gentlemen. Set a challenge and celebrate small wins. Set a challenge for yourself. As we begin, we have done so much, and today the team is going to talk about resolutions. You do in the year's resolutions. But set a challenge. Set one. And milestone it so that every small foot towards that challenge, towards attaining of that challenge, celebrate it. I'm not saying drink yourself out, black yourself out. No, celebrate it. Broadcast this challenge to the haters. While before coming to this, we had a back studio challenge, and one of the haters I got to find out is your mirror. Broadcast your challenge to the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, "Mirror, I am going to attain this." But also, the other haters like Ronnie, all the other people who will think that you are not going to attain this, tell them, "I'm going to attain this." Why? Because they are going to hold you accountable. They are going to always ask, "You said you're going to get this. How far are you?" Please, broadcast. Fear poverty. Fear poverty. This is one of the things I'm taking up this year. I am going to fear poverty. I'm going to increase my fear of poverty. Fear is a bad thing, but for poverty, I will fear it. Flee that address. Flee from the address of poverty. Flee your friend who is taking you back to poverty. Free your family member who is taking you back to poverty. I'm not saying be a bad person, but there are some family members who you need to remain as blood relatives. They are not your friends, they are not your company, they are not your employees. If you try to put them in your business, they are going to take you back. Flee from them. Fear poverty. Poverty is a bad thing. It kills you. It kills. Continue your journey to master your money. Continue on your journey. send money to one task, at least purpose to send money to accomplish a task in your life. You know, most of our lives, you are working for money. Choose a time when you can send money to work for you, and let's send it, master it, and then see it coming back, accomplishing that task. So choose one thing. I'm saying don't do all these things. It's going to confuse you. Just choose one that seems near you. Organize a happy accident on your account. Please organize one happy accident on your account. And a happy accident is when the salary of a certain month finds the salary of the previous month and they collide. Let that collision happen this year, just once, that you have one salary finding the other salary. Then you know you have begun mastering money. It's going to be a happy accident. And when you do some of these things, please feel free to reach out and tell us, I have done this. Reach out to me. For these ones, I am happy to be the one marking them myself. I want to see you. I want to see you progressing. I want to see you moving in a certain direction. Task yourself, be of value, be counted. Some of us up to now are not counted. When they are counting people, they don't count us among the people. When they will come into a room and we are the ones occupying that room, they say there are no people. And it's only until someone else comes and they say, some people have come, let us start the meeting. So you are not people because you do not have value. Add a task, add a skill on your life, add a skill, and you will attain the status of being people, and you will be counted. Ladies and gentlemen, work hard. You humbly applied on your jobs. Give your boss a job to advocate for your salary. You applied for that job. You don't apply to be an advocate for your salary. You applied to work. So work hard on your job. When you work hard, your job has your boss has a sleepless night, and they will always advocate for your salary increment. So work hard. You will know that you're working hard when you see your job, your boss having a sleepless night and giving you all the things and giving you benefits and giving you vouchers and telling you nice things when you have not asked for them because you're working hard. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not just grow old. Another year has come. Let's not just grow old. As the back office team prepares to do the poll, I also want to remind that every year, every beginning of year, we celebrate the passage of time, and that is growing old. When you woke up this morning, you grew old. But did you grow up? Because growing up means you get to the table of men, the table of women, the table where things are being discussed. You are not a discusser of people. You are actually the discussion itself. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. Happy 2023. We hope you start out right. But before, and I introduce you the panel of our judges, not judges, sorry, it's not a panel of judges. Before I introduce you to our panel, allow me to know who you are. Who are you? So the back office team, if you please can share with us that poll. We need to know, are you female, are you male? What's your age? Are you under 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, or 50 and above? Who are you? We need to know this for the benefit of our panelists. They need to understand who they are dealing with, and then they can articulate their message. Ladies and gentlemen, I still want to remind you that at NSSF, we pride in being of purpose to you. We can only be of purpose to you if we keep your money, keep it from you, grow it, and then when we give it back to you, it actually makes sense to you. You do not change overnight. If you've been receiving money every month and you have been losing money every month, when NSSF money comes in a particular month, it will follow the same trend. So start working on those things now. Allow me to close this in the next 1 minute. Have we closed? Yes, have we closed? Let's close in the next 2 minutes. And 2 minutes means 5, 4, 3. Thank you, back office team. Let's see who we have today. Let's see if the back office team is kind enough. Yes. We have 40% female. Ladies, I need to let you know that this is a huge jump in this attendance. 40% female. Obugalo from me. We have a female advocate on the team, so I think she's doing something right. We have been having a discussion with men at 70%, but ladies, kudos, kudos, kudos. We also see a huge jump in the 20 to 30. So I think the women have come in here. So my good panelists, the people we're speaking to is 40% women, 60% gentlemen. The majority of them are between 30 to 40 years. The next majority is between 20 to 30 years. And then the third coming at 40 to 50 years. Only 14% are above 50. But it's also a huge, huge, huge B because we usually have about 5%. Allow me to introduce Ronnie. Ronnie Habassa. I've been trying to Google his qualifications and everything, but then I realized none of that matters because in the field of money, it's only your skill. Ronnie is here because of his skill. Ronnie is a media personality, a team building, magul, everything teams.
That's right.
He's the CEO, founder, and co-founder of Every Team Builds.
To mention
but a few. He's a media personality. He's so many things. Above all, he has a skill, and it's the skill that is making him money. Ronnie, please say headmaster, sir, headmaster. Ronnie,
Sir Headmaster, sir.
welcome, and please take us on.
Thank you so much, Sir Headmaster, sir, and a round of applause for Headmaster Apollo. I guess in that regard, today I am the master on duty, the teacher on duty. And we have gathered some students, the head boy and the head girl to be precise. I don't know if these are befitting titles for you, but we want to say a big thank you to all of you who have been able to tune in, and interesting percentages. More ladies showing up today. I don't know if Christine, you had anything to do with that. Maybe you've been on the grassroots doing kakuyege and, mobilizing. But just to remind you, as the discussion goes on, this is going to be conversational. And if you have a question, do not hesitate. Drop your question in the Q&A, and the behind-the-scenes team will be sending those questions through to me, and I'll be able to ask our panel here that's absolutely equal to the task. And, of course, remember the hashtag is financial literacy. So welcome. I guess this is episode 1, season 1, 2023, financial literacy, and we are talking about starting out right. But before we jump into it, we should know who we have with us here on the panel. And I guess they say ladies first. So I'll ask Christine Cheine Kawea, who is the CEO of Greenlight Investments. And I think they're into financial literacy. So I think you're seated in the right place. So who is Christine? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Sir Headmaster, sir.
That's right.
Our audience this afternoon. I'd like to welcome you and wish you a very happy new year. As you have introduced me, Christine Chenekawa is my name.
Yeah.
I'm a corporate governance expert.
Okay.
But I'd like to probably introduce myself with a passion that I have.
Go right ahead.
I'm into governance, so that is why I represent quite a number of boards. I'm experienced in that area.
Yeah.
I'm also a transformational leader. I do transform different organizations. I've been a CEO in different capacities,
Okay.
and I'm growing and just managing. And Christine has seen about 4 spheres of the environment.
All
I've
right.
been an employer. I have been employed.
Mhm.
I'm an investor,
Uh-huh.
and I'm an entrepreneur.
Wow. Employer, employed, investor, entrepreneur.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a leader in different capacities.
Yeah.
I'm a Rotarian, and I pride myself in a community service, and so that fulfills a Rotarian side. So Christine believes in training, and training not only corporate governance but also financial literacy, especially to the bottom of the socio-economic pyramid.
Yeah.
And my theme is, I believe, in a candle lighting another does not lose the flame. It just grows
brighter, yes.
So yes, that is me in a nutshell.
All right, beautiful. Maybe I can just unpack you just a little more on a family side. Are you married? Do you have children? Just curious.
I do have children.
Yeah.
I have 3 lovely boys. And
Wow.
who are already at university. Some are at university and the young ones. So clearly that is Christine on the other
So
side.
you know the hassle of paying school fees and
Hassle paying
what?
school fees.
Aha.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. I just wanted to make sure we are relatable so that they don't think, she's just been CEOing all this time. But you know the hassle of unemployed, employed, employer, investor, entrepreneur, to
Exactly.
mention but a few. The whole spectrum is covered in there.
It's
Well, we
okay.
also have Mr. or Dr. Jeff Sewira Mukasa, and I think he's the CEO of Imprint Uganda, or is it now international? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeff.
Thank you, Ronnie. Is it Master Sir? Headmaster Sir?
Yeah,
Our
that
dear
is reserved for
audience,
one.
Jeff Seramukasa is my name, and it's wonderful to actually be here. Happy New Year, and it's exciting to see what God is doing. Even as we talk about starting out right, a brief introduction about myself. I'm 57 years old, so I've actually gone through the journey, and it's wonderful to be with NSSF. I've been employed. I still am employed right now. I work for an organization called Imprint, which is a capacity building organization. But before that, I worked for the corporate world, worked for Coca-Cola for quite a number of years, just about 14 or 15 years. Growing up as an internal auditor, I have a finance background,
Yeah.
and ending up as a divisional director responsible for finance in about 7 countries. Something interesting,
Wow, that was quite a journey from just an intern auditor all the way to the top, literally.
literally. But, and I remember talking about that, something interesting is that getting that job in an interview, somebody asked me, so tell us if you can get your hands dirty. And I remember my father was a lovely guy, but he used to make sure that the boys would get hard work. And one of his issues was to make sure that you clean the pigs. Sorry if you're a Muslim, but you clean the pigs and make sure they're clean. So I remember in that interview telling the guy that, sir,
have
I can get my
experience.
hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept telling me, you remember that pig story? That's the reason why you have this job. So yes, I've worked in the corporate world, but I also enjoy agriculture, and I've done it to the level ground. So I'm a farmer. I'm married to Lydia. We're celebrating 25 years this year.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
We have 3 biological children and 1 adopted. Tendo is 22. He's just qualifying as a lawyer. David is studying to be an architect. He's 20, 21 now. Suvi is studying to be a physician, like her mom, a medicine. She's 18. And then Douglas, his adopted son, he's doing business at MOBS. So it's exciting to see the family grow.
Yeah.
And knowing the hassles of January and the school fees and the challenges that actually go through with different people at different levels. I'm involved in church, I'm involved in Watoto Church as an elder. I'm involved in Church of Uganda, in my local church, as a head of laity, and a range of other activities. I'm a Rotarian, just like my colleague here, Christian. I sit on several boards, chair a few, and it's an interesting journey.
Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that introduction should give you comfort that the people on my panel today are absolutely equal to the task, and they are real people, not robots. We checked them before they came. They are mere mortals, fellow mortals, just like all of us. And so, I don't expect us to have a case of I started my, rice factory with 1 grain of rice. I started my prison with 1 prisoner, or to mention but a few. But I was intrigued by the assignment that the headmaster gave us, and he asked us to choose one of those things to drop. And he talked about company. Company. Before we jump into the actual discussion, I was reading somewhere that you are the running average of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with. How important is company and the friends that you keep around you, in as far as kickstarting your year on the right foot? How important is it, company? And I can just open that to any one of you to just jump in. Ladies first.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ronnie. About company.
Yeah.
Company is who you are. Tell me who you move with so I can tell you your behavior. That is the saying in my language.
Yeah.
Yes, and company, depending on who you have, they'll be able to either advise you, coach you, mentor you, uplift you spiritually, financially, socially, and economically. So depending on the company that you have, and I was very happy when Sir Headmaster Sir this afternoon started with just that.
Number
drop,
one.
Drop. When I made the age of 40, do I look any younger?
Yeah, I
When
was
made the
wondering,
age of
have you
40
made it yet? I thought you were still on the way there.
Yes, when I made the age of 40, I said, you know what? I just need 5 people. I counted the 5 friends that I could relate with. And probably as you get to another stage, you need to drop. And so now, with that advice this afternoon, I feel I have to drop because some people do not add value to you. Some people do just clog your inbox with negativity. And once you have people coming in with negativity, then you do not grow. They disturb your growth. You know, like a stunted child.
Yeah.
When you have people pulling you down, snatching on your positive energy, snatching on your food, you will tend to be stunted.
Yeah.
So this year I'm saying, let me drop.
Even from the 5, you're going to drop
Oh,
further.
yes. Drop
Mokama.
bad company, drop the bad habits, habits that have been taking away my money. That is why we're here for financial literacy. And as you drop company, you're dropping so many traits. People who have been influencing you negatively, people who have been hindering your growth.
Yeah.
Financial growth is very important. And once you haven't taken the right financial footing, you're bound to drop spiritually and socially. So company is that thing that I need to change.
Wow. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
When you talk about company, and it's interesting, especially in this day and era, where company might not just be physical.
Oh,
As I'm
yes.
seated.
Things have morphed.
But actually, company could be company on my phone. How many WhatsApp groups am I on? And do I need to really be part of all of that?
And you are not at liberty to leave. When you leave, they say, who left? They put you back.
When you go into the Kamoli, why in the
Uh-huh.
Kamoli? So company could be, I'm not one of those guys who go out for drinks, but these days there's so many new places coming up.
Yeah.
And let's try out this new place. Ugandans, we're like ants. When there's a new place, all
We
of us
check it
actually,
out.
let's check this out. And sometimes company, especially as you're talking about financial, you might want to say, let me drop this to try and see that I can actually focus on some of the items that bring value to me, that actually enable me to grow as an individual. Company and relatives. There's some relatives who are always knocking. It's January now, and they're about to start knocking.
Because I was going to ask, she said she scaled down the company to 5. But if they're relatives, can you drop relatives as well? This is your aunt, this is your uncle, cousin Tom.
Tough as it might be, you need to be selective, and that's sometimes for your own growth, you might actually need to drop some company.
That's right.
Company, I go to church, sometimes company even in church. There's sometimes where there's so many needs that you wonder which ones am I actually going to take up and which ones am I going to drop. So as we talk about what to drop, I think it's part of that evaluation process to find out, should I go with a whole baggage, or are there some people I need to let off?
Wow. Speaking as you speak of church, the church where I go, the scripture they're talking about this year is, as you run your race, you need to drop off all those weights and those things that easily hinder you. You are carrying a mogugu of dead weight, people, and you need to be able to do that. But friends, as we've actually started really, but as we get deeper into, kickstarting the year or starting out right, when I read the theme and I got the invitation from Apollo, I was thinking if we're starting out right, there's probably a way to start out wrong. And maybe many of us have been starting out wrong from time immemorial to date, and it's about time for us to switch. So before we jump into what starting out right looks like, Jeff, I'll start with you. What is starting out wrong?
It's interesting. Every new year gives us an opportunity.
Yeah.
There's excitement, the fireworks, the party.
Fresh start.
It's a fresh start. And for many of us, then you come and say, let me make my resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. There are quite a number of things that you're actually writing out. Let's talk about from a financial perspective as well. I want to finish my house. I want to roof it. Or I want to start up a new business project. And good as all of those, I think sometimes starting out wrong is just jumping into anything without taking a moment to reflect.
Yeah.
we've just ended 2022. And it was a tough year. Tough year as an individual, tough year as a business, tough year as a community, and maybe tough year as a country. Just running into 2023 without reflecting what went wrong and maybe what could I do right. And just thinking just because it's a new year, it's a new page and things are going to sort themselves
I have a
out.
fresh slate to start again.
That- Tulumbe. That could be one of the challenges
Yeah.
that jumping in without taking a moment to reflect.
All right.
And I think that I would think that even as I build onto that is at times we're too excited with the new year that you want to do everything in just a breath. And I think, like somebody indicated, you still have the same salary, but you have all these lists of financial things that
So you're
you want
very
to do.
ambitious. You're trying to
Very
bite
ambitious,
more than you
very
can swallow.
ambitious. And as we start out right, I think it's important that you take a moment and reflect and also prioritize what are the things I'm going to do right. What are some of the things I'm going to drop, the heavy weights you talked about,
Yeah.
so that I can actually be able to start off right.
All right. And Kristen, what do you think? In what is starting out wrong? What would be the way not to start this year?
The way I would want to start a year is losing the time. You see, end of year comes with a lot of hype. December, and it's very bad that our salaries do come early in December.
You
Long
don't say.
January.
Oh, you can imagine
Hence,
what
those
it
who are
is.
now in North January and South
Exactly.
January.
Yes, our salaries come very early. So one of the things that I would want to avoid, and what I feel that somebody starting out wrong,
Yeah.
is to start the year with a dry bank account. If there's no accident
dryness.
that Sir Headmaster Sir talks about,
Where
it
one
is a-
salary from a previous month collides
with another
with
one on your
blah.
account, yes.
And Ronnie,
So-
remember that for some people you even got a bonus.
But me,
But December,
there's a,
You know.
you disseminated everything.
Exactly. When it comes early and then you spend the hype. And the problem is you get so many bivulus. This one here, Cindy
Christmas,
here,
what,
this one,
this,
I just had.
there are
road
spices
was close
here.
price there, and so now.
Hey.
All those things are very confusing. So if you do not sit back to reevaluate
Yeah.
what the year has been, we've had two very bad years. COVID years, economic downturn.
Oh, yeah.
You have, now as we're
Uncertainty.
trying to get somewhere, Ebola hit scene, Masindi is closed. Some of us have relatives there. We have, businesses in those areas. So we're
China
shut
has
down.
shown up again
China
with.
closed. And so we did not have time to sit and reflect.
Yeah.
And say this is what it is. We're not able to reevaluate where we were. And as an individual, I would want people to go back. After Christmas, you have celebrated. And I mean, you're struggling with a lot of, you've eaten too much, just like everything was running away, the food was running away.
Yeah.
You enjoy so much. So take a moment to sit back and reflect. Think of what the year has been. So when you fail to do this between December 26th or, before you begin the year, then you are bound to fail, to begin the year on a wrong footing.
Yeah.
And I personally say, for me not to begin the year on such a wrong turn, let me take time off. Keep quiet.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask you. While we're talking behind the scenes, you shared how for you before the year ends, you go to the village, shut out the noise, hopefully turn off the phones and all of that, and you have
think
about
through.
4 or 5 days.
Yes.
On what are you doing
Think
in
through.
that time?
I'm reflecting
Yeah.
on the year, reflecting on the businesses that I have lost, thinking about the strengths, what I have achieved in the year.
Yeah.
What were my weaknesses? What could I have done better?
You're doing a
What-
SWOT analysis.
Yes, what were the opportunities that I could have missed? And what were the threats? I look at all those. And those help me reflect which business am I dropping. Like I told you, I'm an investor, I'm a planner, I'm a risk taker. Yes.
So are there some from 2022
Oh,
which you have said
yes.
this horse is dead?
Dead. I have flogged it. I
Uh-huh,
haven't
it has
flogged
refused to
anymore.
come back to life.
Yes, so I have done that. And I've said, let me bite the bullet. And I know I have lost so much. The other year, 2021, I said, I closed one. You reevaluate.
Yeah.
I closed one. So I said, 2022, let me begin something new. Hit me terribly. I lost my money. I said, okay. This year I said, let me just focus on about 2 things. how can I add value to other people by training them?
Yeah.
And how can I add value to different boards and also run the green light investments? So those are the things I'm focusing on.
You decided to
I
zero
have
in.
said as I grow older, let me not do so much of risk taking. Let me try to stop. I know this is what I'm going to do, but people should take the time to reflect on what the year has been and focus. You know, when you say Nsinzide, that one, then you start afresh on a clean slate.
Then you
for
can
to
say
be able
kati
to do
nsimbudde.
something.
You
Yes,
cannot
that is
kusimbula
what
without
I-
kusinzira on something.
Exactly.
So you need to look where you're coming from to
Yes.
decide
Where
where
you're
it is
going.
that you are going.
Yes, that is
Wow.
me.
All right, so Jeff, now that the year is here, and it's already 17 days, we're already past mid-month. This year has started with gas. The news we are seeing, I mean, it's looking to be an interesting year. How do we start this year and position ourselves, for a good start that by the time the year is ending, we can look back in hindsight and say, yeah, this is indeed the place I wanted to be.
Christine has actually made reference that for her it happens between 26th or 27th.
Yeah, of the
She
previous
goes,
year.
Of the previous years. She goes to the village, closes out. Now I go to the village, but for me the village, that's where I have a farm. So if I try to,
This distraction.
there's a lot that's happening. That's
Yeah.
where the relatives are. As
Yeah,
well.
that's where all the company is.
So usually for me, I come back into the new year, and the first takeoff time, I live in Mutungo, but I leave my family and go somewhere. I go somewhere for a retreat, a private retreat.
Alone.
Alone, just
Wow.
a spiritual retreat, and take 3 days off, where, from a spiritual perspective, I'm just seeking God. And part of what I'm actually seeking for is to get a word, to get a vision, to get something.
Some direction. What
Some
is there?
direction. In that process, I'm reflecting. In that process, I'm actually finding out what went wrong. But I'm also looking internally to say, so what am I doing about? And getting that vision for the year, getting that goal,
Yeah.
getting that theme that I'm actually going to pursue becomes the keynote on which then the rest of the things hang. Key for me then is to try and say, if this is what we're actually going to pursue, then how do we actually build at this? And I think we're on the 17th. One of the key things is that if you don't have a goal,
Yeah.
then it's difficult. As a young man, when I was courting my wife, one of the things that actually came up was her brother made a reference and said, look for a man who has a vision, who has a goal, who knows where he's going. And I think this doesn't just stop in courting, but each year you need to actually find out as a goal. As a father, as a head of a family, as a head of a business, I need to have a direction for 2023. What are we pursuing? And then as I do that, then anchor or make sure that you're driving that as something that you can actually then hold others to make sure that you're building towards that. And I think that's important, that if you don't have a goal, then what are you chasing?
Yeah.
Anything that comes will go. Any business opportunity that comes, you pursue. But if there's clarity on what you want to pursue, it makes it at least gives you a sense of direction.
Yeah.
On how to move forward.
Beautiful. So, when you talk about a goal, and like we're sharing behind the scenes, the goals shouldn't be ambitious. I want to marry a wife, I want to build a house, I want to buy the car, I want to do this, I want to do the other. And yet your wallet is the only thing which is not growing. Everything else is growing. And you talked about the goals need to be realistic. I think there was the acronym for SMART goals. S was for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. I want to bring that to you, Christine, because I feel most of us generally have goals. They may not be written down, or some of us, yes, they're ambitious at the start of the year. I was seeing the science shows that fitness centers in the beginning of the year, the first quarter, health, diets, the Dr. Kasenenes of this world. I'm sure Dr. Kasenene right now is cashing in big because everyone is. But towards the wrap of the first quarter, those goals just start to dwindle away and die out. And you mentioned something about it's not enough to have a goal. There needs to be a strategy.
Yes.
So maybe I want you to speak into that, because most of us generally have a goal. I want to be better. I want to get more money, but maybe we are missing out. Maybe the missing link is that strategy. Maybe you could speak into that.
Thank you, Ronnie. First, to go back a little bit, in whatever we do, we need to be able to measure where we are.
Yeah.
Just like we know where we are and we know where we're going. I normally use a quadrant and I shared it with Anna. Those are the personal traits. Where are you? There are 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are quadrants. 4 is the highest, where you have attained so much. Whereas 1 is where you nearly don't have
struggling.
nothing. But when you look at life, everybody is in this quadrant at a certain time. You may be spiritually in quadrant 1 and financially in quadrant 3.
Okay.
Or likewise, financially quadrant 2, but spiritually, socially,
Family. Wow.
family, 0 quadrant. If there was another 0, probably you could be in a 0. So you begin with that. What is a strategy for me to move from quadrant 1
One step
to
to
quadrant
another.
2? Yes, quadrant 2 probably being that 1 is the less. 2, you have probably a bit of finance here and there. You can be able to afford, a simple plan. You begin with a plan.
Yeah.
Now, plan for my house. That is after acquiring the land. I have a plan for my house.
Don't plan for the house when there's no
Exactly.
land.
By
You
the
are in
time, it's
quadrant
also
0.
very good to
I
visualize
have a
where
vision.
You have a vision of where I'm going.
vision.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
screensaver on my laptop.
Exactly. This is the ideal house that I will build.
Yeah.
So how do you move from quadrant 1 or from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3?
Yeah.
So this is the strategy. Strategy will go with a goal. And I normally use the acronym of GROW.
Grow.
What are your goals
Okay.
for the year? Goal, I'll probably not marry, but you can also have a goal to marry. Probably Jeff had it at one point, and that's why he was
25
able to.
years ago.
Exactly. And that is why he's here.
Yeah.
Then what is a reality on ground? Reality on ground.
So goal, for example, goal, build a house, we have said.
Yes, build a house.
But what is the reality?
What is
Torina
that?
Taka. You don't have,
The money, the wallet is still the same. Probably it's even dwindling, becoming much smaller than it was.
So you
because-
need those two, you need to
Exactly.
juxtapose
You need
and
to
see.
synchronize those
Yeah.
ones and say, okay, my goal is to build a house this year, because
Yeah.
as I build a house, nobody is going to get attracted to me when I don't have where I'm staying.
Yeah, I'm
So
tired
you
of the
need-
landlord. I
Exactly.
need
Landlord
freedom.
running every end of 25th when they pay salary. Landlord knocks, and then your girlfriend or your boyfriend cannot sleep well because there's that
Yeah,
knock
they are
from
knocking.
the landlord. So what is the strategy for me to grow from that one
Yeah.
to the other one? I have to work hard.
Yeah.
I have to look for a side hustle. Many people do not bother about having side hustles. They are dormant. They wake up every morning at work, or they're not even working hard.
Yeah.
Sir Headmaster Sir told us, give your employer
Reason to give you
Reason,
bonus after
yes,
bonus after
yes.
bonus.
to fight for your salary increment.
Yeah.
Give that reason. Work hard. Some people are just seated back, laid back. And especially if it's a man and you're laid back, ladies will not get attracted to you.
Terrible.
So these things go with a wallet. How big is your wallet to attract and also to implement your strategy? Strategy goes with the goals. Your goal is to build a house. Look for a side hustle. If you cannot have a side hustle, try to work hard so that your boss can notice you for a salary increment, so that you can get a promotion, because this is going to widen your wallet.
Yeah.
So it is important that
So you have a
is-
goal.
Yes.
You check realistically what's on
Realis-
ground.
What is a reality?
Yeah.
And
What
at
do I need to know?
times,
Increase the hustle, increase
Yes.
income.
Reality is that probably I do not have land, and so you have to acquire land.
I'm going to start to deposit
You're not
on
going to
this.
steal, but you're going to go to the demise of this world, the upright, so that you can be able to deposit slowly
Yeah.
and have a plan there. And if you're not credit worth, nobody's going to give you that, allowance to be depositing
Yeah.
every month. So it is important that you create that. And we say your net worth is, your network is your net worth.
yeah.
So what is your network around you? If nobody can stand up for you and say, I'm going to vie for this person,
Then things are
she or
bad.
he will be able to pay, then the reality is that you're not good on the ground.
And
we
then,
go- we go to the opportunities.
All right.
What are the opportunities on ground? Opportunities. What institutions can you work with to realize the opportunities?
Yeah.
I have come to NSSF. There's a lot that I can get. Of course, there's the midterm. I'll say, should I get the midterm? That is an opportunity.
There's free financial literacy that they can give you. It's not free, actually. It's paid for with your salary. So you can just walk in and get all the advice you need.
Exactly.
Even those who call themselves sir, headmaster, sir, you
Yes,
can beckon them. And they, yeah,
Yes.
And
So
maybe to come in, even as she's talking about opportunities.
yeah.
Many times when people are looking out for opportunities, you are wondering, but what can I do? And the funny thing, in the Bible, there's a story where somebody was asked, what do you have in your hands?
What do you have in your hands?
Many times what we can do is actually before us.
exactly.
It's within reach.
It's within reach. Ronnie is here because of his talent.
Yeah.
And so as you're asking what opportunities, look at what can I do? What's there? And it's from those very items that you can actually be able to see
Yeah.
the miracles happening.
So the
And,
opportunities are not up in the sky, not
exactly.
looking too fast.
Yeah.
Start from just around you.
Yes, and opportunities. Talking more about opportunities. While I was at the university, of course, I never wanted to be out of cash. I'm a good cook, so I would say, what can I cook? I would get orders from organizations to supply them bites as they have in their meetings.
As a student on
As
campus.
a student on campus.
You are
and I would
thinking
go to one day
mandazi
buy,
and-
yeah, exactly, mandazi, everything, samosas, everything. I would go, buy the meat, make them, deliver in the morning because I had the opportunity.
And then go to class in the afternoon,
Exactly.
and you had your cash flow.
I had my cash with me. So we need to realize the opportunities before us. And how do we take advantage of the opportunities? Do you have connections? I used to get those orders because I had connections.
Yeah.
I had networks to go into those companies to be able to make the sambusas and make the extra cash. And then we go to the W.
The W.
What is the way forward? What are you doing about the opportunities?
Now
What
that
are
you have a
doing-
goal, you have
Yes.
checked the reality on the ground,
Yes.
you have jumped on an opportunity. What's the way forward?
The way forward. Way forward. What better thing can I do? I was studying. I said, if I do not get the job, I can at least follow the opportunities I have for me to be able to grow this business and supply different things, eatables, small bites. And that my way forward was strengthen my networks so that the networks can continue giving me the business that I needed to be able to make the cash. So my way forward was that. And the way forward here could be grow your side hustle, grow or relate better with your employer so that you can get that pay rise we're talking about
Yeah.
for you to be able to fulfill your goals for 2023. So that is it. That
Wow,
is the goal.
beautiful, beautiful acronym right there. Grow. I don't know, Jeff. What are your thoughts in there? Because one of the things I picked from what she said, she was cooking mandazi, sumbusa on campus. Do you think in this day and age sometimes we shun opportunities? You are scrubbing animals. Your dad wanted the pigs to be clean. Do you think we are minimizing certain jobs and feeling you want to start from CEO level, or you want to speak into that?
Let me just go back. I qualified in Makerere, then left Uganda, went and lived in the UK for quite a while. And one of the things I found out was that in the UK, you never used to depend on one job. I had a job in the morning, I had a job in maybe the evening, and as a student as well.
Yeah.
This was a lesson for life that even as I've come back home, I've had the opportunity to work in the corporate world. I've had the opportunity to work as a consultant. And Christine here has talked about side hustles. And the hustles come in different ways. While I was at university here in Makerere, for me, my side hustle was NASA. I worked in a printing press during my A-level vacations. And
Hope you're not printing for people certificates and
and I realized that this is something I could actually balance out with my course.
yeah.
Now, when we talk about grow and especially opportunities, at different stages in life, you have different opportunities. Christine right now might not be able to go and say, let me do
Supply
mandazi and
sambusas.
and so on and so forth. So it's important to take a moment and assess where you are in life and what opportunities you have for that moment. Because that opportunity won't last forever. That opportunity won't last forever. and to make sure you do the best that you have with that. Now, you could be working for NSSF. These days, one of the things when you're trying to get an Uber, many of the people who actually give you a ride into town are driving to work.
Yeah.
And they logged in onto Uber and can actually drop you and then continue and be able to work. Now, I did something similar to that as a student, but I would finish my classes at 5 and then do something similar to Uber for nearly up to 12 or 1 o'clock, then go and sleep for 5 hours. As you are at different stages in life, it's important to assess what opportunities are there and how do I make the best of that. And I think, especially when I saw that quite a number of people who were responding were young.
The biggest number is 20 to
20
it
or
was
30.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can actually be able to do in that time. And look out for the opportunities. Your boss won't have any issue with you if you've clocked in, you've done your part, but you're doing something else to actually make sure that you can grow yourself. But it also depends on which job and who you're working for. I'll leave it at that.
Wow, beautiful. And by the way, if you've just tuned in, don't enjoy this information alone. You better, holla at your friends, at your peeps. I'm talking to those who are 20 to 30, and let them know, there's some good financial literacy going on here. But if you have a question, don't hesitate. Just drop it in the Q&A section, and those questions will be coming through to me. Maybe to you, Kristen. I like what you said, the R for reality. Perhaps one of the reality checks should be to understand your level and know where you're at. I know that as a student, it behooves me to be able to sell mandazi or sumbusa if the opportunity is there. Do you think sometimes perhaps we elevate ourselves too much? I don't know if it's because of social media. We want to put up an image of, I got this together, everything is okay, and so we are spending money we don't have to impress people who don't care. And I don't know, what are your thoughts about that?
About that, I would say we do live at times above.
Yeah.
If individuals could try to lower themselves and live below their level, that could be the best thing. But at times it's not important. So the reality sinks in. What is a reality on ground? What more can you do besides what you're doing?
Yeah.
We do have different financial vehicles that we can use. And for the younger generation, there's quite a lot, like Jeff has said, a lot in that. Even when you went out, even if you went out to probably iron people's clothes. We used to have those ladies at university who would come to iron for us the clothes, wash and iron. I mean, you buy the soap and everything. And at times it's even their soap. So would like to encourage the younger generation to open up. There's much more that we can do. And personally in my life, I would say I would shoot for the moon. Even if I miss, I'll land in the stars. And just like that is, Norman Vincent normally says that, that you can be able to shoot and then you land somewhere. I would encourage the people to try out different vehicles. Try out. Do not fear failing. Personally, I do not fear, because with every business, I learn something
At
new.
least you will learn.
I will learn something new and I make it better. And the best people to employ are those ones who have tried and failed than those ones who have not tried at all. So it is always best that you try, you fail, you land in the stars, and then next time you
learn
do better.
and you come back. Jeff, you look like you want to chip in there.
I wanted to chip in. You talked about, and I think it was Mr. Headmaster Sir that talked about surprise your neighbor.
Oh, yes.
And
they expect you to drive out in a Mpenko Nation.
These days, we want to surprise our neighbors in the wrong way. You're trying to live way above your means. And one of the challenges, I need to be careful. I sit on a board of a bank. But one of the challenges we have is that many people have access to very easy loans, salary loans, whatever. So you find that people are heavily indebted. That even as you talk about starting out to
confuse neighbors in the wrong way.
They're confusing neighbors, but in the wrong way. As you start out, it's like they're heavily indebted, so that you're gasping. You know how you gasp? You're gasping for breath. And try and live within your means. There's so many temptations that are going to come with easy loans. And now some of them might be with reasonable financial institutions, but they're money lenders where somebody is going to ask you for an interest rate that is unlikely to be
Unrealistic.
out of reality.
Yeah.
And yet somebody says, let me take it on. So as we talk about this, confuse your neighbor, but not in the wrong way.
Thank you very
And,
much.
Probably
Yes.
just to add on to a little bit of the reality, before the onset of COVID, what mattered then does not matter anymore. These days, people sit in their homes and they're working.
And they're able to work.
They're able to work. That was unthought of.
We're here talking to an audience. You don't know how many
Exactly.
people on the other side.
We don't know how many people on the other side. But before COVID, so things have changed. We need to read the times. Where are the interest rates? What are the options that are available? And Sahid Master Sir talked about the various options available.
Yeah.
So let us consider the various options in the reality. Not saying I would wake up in the morning, go to work, your job and everything. I see many people working online. Those times, we never bothered about having data
Yeah.
in our homes, about having which one this
Internet.
is Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi.
in our homes. But these days, it's
It's
a
a
must.
necessity.
It's a necessity. Without that, you cannot live. So we are able to conduct our meetings in the comfort of our homes. Unlike it used to be, I would wake up in the morning, drive to work, drive. I don't have to. I'll just control everything. Technology has moved on.
Read
People
the
need to
times.
embrace the times.
Yeah.
They need to read the times and understand where the reality is.
All right, we're going to take a short break and hand it back to the boss himself, Sir Headmaster Sir. And when we return, I can see some of your questions have already started coming through, and we'll be going through those as well.
Well said, well said, well said. Thank you so much. Thank you so much that the panel, not the audience is blazing with questions.
Oh, yeah.
They're asking things. They're starting out right. Thank you so much, the audience, for joining us. Thank you so much. We hope that this impacts you and it gets into action. I just want to attend to a few questions. Then we go into our second poll so that you understand who we are dealing with and what we have, what they have decided to do this year. But someone is asking, I think it was Esther. Esther was saying, hard work, let us work smart. And Esther, my sister, I think, let's never confuse. There is no substitute for hard work. When you work smart, you need to work hard at working smart. You can never tell me that Bill Gates is working smart. He's working hard at working smart. Never confuse laziness for working smart. They say, I'm working smart. No, you have to. So she's concerned and saying, if you say work hard, then it's like you're telling a 60-year-old that they have been lazy. It's one of the things you need to tell people, and these are things I'm glad I'm paid to say some of these things, but you will find, yes, there is someone who is 60. They have not grown up. They are just growing old. And yes, they have been lazy all their life. They have never worked hard at all. So reflect. But smart work, that I advocate for that, but you need to be a hard worker at working smart. Drop company. Now you're telling us to drop company, and now network is your net worth. Yes, but the quality of your network. Let me tell you, I'm one of the victims, and just recently it just hit me. It hit me, boom, and I say, what's happening to me? I wanted to raise 100 million, and I said I could. I know more than 1,000 people. I said all I need is 100 of my company, giving me 1 million, and I have 100 million. I didn't get 5. So that network, yes, it is a good social capital, but let's not confuse capital. It's not capital. It is social, yes, but it's not capital. Because I needed 100 million, I couldn't get 5 from what I am calling social capital. So it is not capital. It is. It's nice to have people around, and people say you need to have people who will bury you and all those, but you need 2 people, just 2 people to bury you. And even if you don't have any, apologies if I am offending anyone, the government will bury you. And let me tell you, I have never seen, I know people are going to give me examples, but I have never seen a wealthy man lack people. Somehow, someone will come out and say, that one is my son. Even when their own family abandons them. I'm not saying undermine that the role of your family is around you, but I want you to be, just like Esther, be smart around them. Not everything that presents itself as your network is actually worth your time. Before we go to that to the questions, allow me to ask the back office team to share with us what the second poll question. And the second poll question is a quick one. There are quite a number of questions here. There, as a financial literacy individual, as part of financial, I don't have business mind, but I don't need to. But I need, but in need of a side hustle. I opted to investing money in money markets and insurance company to earn daily interest. However, it is small. Let me, as the back office team gets us our panel, not everyone is meant for business. And it also sounds a bit insensitive, but if you are not performing at your job, at your main job, you have no business doing a side hustle. Now, while you will think that insurance or money markets are giving you, apologies, a low return, while you think that 10% is a low return, business can give you a negative 10%. It can give you, it can actually double your money in 1 month, but it can take away your money and you need to pick more money to close the business. So be comfortable and don't worry. Not everyone should be a businessman, and not everyone. And I know people keep saying you cannot get wealth just working for an individual. I know someone who's paid 80 million just working on a job. But how many businesses do you know that get 80 million in profit every month? Anyway, did you have resolutions last year, 2022? Yes or no? We want to know if you had resolutions last year, yes or no? If yes, or did you achieve those resolutions? And the answer there, yes, I achieved them. I achieved most of them. Some of them, yes, I achieved some of them. I hope we are able to answer. I achieved some of them. I abandoned them. I changed them. I failed. I didn't have any resolutions. Please, let us have your answers. There's another third question there. Do you have resolutions already set for 2023? Yes, we are going to engage here a bit, and we just want the panel to understand who they are talking to. Do you have resolutions for 2023? Yes. No. Still working on them. I am not planning on having any. Kindly pick out the appropriate that just comes to you. Remember, this is anonymous. No one is going to point fingers at you and say, no, you look at him. No one is going to judge you. This is personal. Why do you have to set New Year's resolutions? Some of us will say it keeps me organized. It keeps me focused. It's a bandwagon. Everyone is doing it, so let me also do it. It's the right thing to do. I don't have any New Year's resolutions. You can pick as many as you can here. I see Anne-Marie just edited out some of them. Kasigiri. It sounds too fancy and cool for me to do it. It's the default. It's the culture. What are the answers that you have for these 4 questions? We want to just hand them over to this panel of experienced people. They are not experts in your personal lives, but they are experienced in their own and experts on their own, and they would want to share with us what they pick from this. So in the next 5, 4, 3, 2.5, 2, 1, let's end this and let's see what the results show. What are the results? What are the results? Someone is asking, how do I deal with the fear of starting my own business? Start it with fear. But the panel will answer that. Yes, let's have the answers. Let's have the answer. For me, that's the answer I would have for you. But again, I want to remind you that not everyone needs to do business. And don't be laughed at and say, for you are not doing anything, you are dead. No, it is okay for you not to do anything as long as you are doing something else. Did you have resolutions last year? Yes. 85% of the participants here say they had resolutions. No. 15%. Just have to. Did you achieve your resolutions? So the 85% are saying 9% of them yes, 18% most of them, 57% some of them, 4% abandoned, 4% changed, 6% failed, 10% I did not have any resolutions. I hope we can start crafting a picture, a clear picture of who we are dealing with, not a clear, but a fair picture. This does not identify who you are fully. Do you have any resolutions set for 2023. Yes, 71% have already. Hey, guys, I'm late. 71% are saying they have already set their resolutions. 5% have not. 23% are working on them. The 1%, they need to tell us why. They're saying, I am not planning on having any. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, in adult school, all answers are correct answers. So don't be bullied out of your answer. Why do you set New Year's resolutions? It keeps me organized. This is a multiple question, so people could answer one or two. So the most popular was, it keeps me focused. With 72%, it's the most popular. This is popularity, not necessarily adding up to 100%, but most popular is keeps me focused. The next popular one is keeps me on track to achieve my goals with 31%. Then we have another 25% saying it keeps me organized. I am required to. Yes, there are those humble husbands who are saying here, I am required to. You know, when your wife says, you come back with goals, please do not come back until you have a goal. Yes, we feel you, we feel you. We feel you, Kajambo Roni. Yes. And then we have, it is too fancy and cool. No one wants to do that because it's too fancy. It's culture, it's default. 2% are saying it's default. And the bandwagon effect is again 1%. So, Ronnie, Jeff, Christine, that's what the participants are saying. Kindly take it on from there.
Wow, thank you, sir, Mr. Headmaster, sir. And indeed, we'll pick it up from there. Resolutions. Jeff has shared how, Kristen says she starts end of the year, goes, reviews, reflects, does all of that, and closes businesses she needs to close. And that statement has brought up a few questions. I'll be bringing those your way in a short while. Jeff, on the other hand, said you separate yourself away from the farm and the family and go alone on a personal 3-day retreat, and you return with a word and resolutions. I'd like to hear from you, Jeff. Maybe give us some tips. How have you done it over the years? You have experience, 57 years you've been around. How exactly do you go about writing your resolutions, and maybe over the years you've been through different percentages, the ones who said I didn't achieve anything, and you reflected and said maybe this is the way to do it. So what is best practice when it comes to resolution setting?
Let's start off with that very word, resolution.
Resolution. What is a resolution?
Sitting on a board or on several boards, a resolution is after all the discussion.
Yeah.
It's the agreed action from that discussion, and it's a binding. It could be binding for you as an organization. So when it comes to us as an individual, when you say a resolution, I think it sometimes sounds very foreign, sounds very English
Western.
or Western.
Yeah.
And that could be one of the things that might put off some people and say, oh, do I really need a resolution? Since the day. So over the years, and I remember as a young man, maybe it would be writing down things. This is what I want to do. And many times it was the things that were quite exciting just for that
At
moment.
the time.
At
Yeah.
the time. But as I've grown mature and as I've come, what I've found is that a resolution, like somebody indicated, and when Headmaster was presenting, gives you a sense of direction, gives you a sense of order. It's, at least in my personal life, it's been things that we agree on. As having worked in the corporate world, organizations tend to come, let it be at the beginning of a calendar year or a beginning of financial year,
Yeah.
and put a plan together. The reason why they put a plan together is to ensure that they have things that they're pursuing. Having worked for Coke, we're very ambitious about the number of crates that we're actually selling. I work for Imprint Uganda Limited, which is a consultancy firm. And part of what we do is to look out for, through the 3 business units that we're working on, what are we actually going to be doing? Who are the customers we're going to be talking to? Who are the repeat people? So resolutions give you a sense of something that you can actually monitor and say, how am I moving towards that area? Now, for me, as I do this, like, it separates. There's some resolutions that are very much from a family perspective.
Yeah.
There's some from a business perspective. There's some from a spiritual perspective. But that enables me to then be able to see, as I work within the family, how are we doing in that specific area? As I work from a business perspective, how are we doing in that specific area? So a resolution is that commitment that you're making, and it's between you, because nobody's going to tell you.
Because you're saying, I have resolved.
I've resolved to do this. And you try, like we're doing within a corporate world or within a board setting, to hold yourself accountable and say, how have I moved towards that?
Yeah.
So it helps, what I've done is, it helps to come back in the middle of the year, or at least periodically, and say,
And
so
evaluate.
how are we doing on the resolutions?
We
that
said
made?
ABC.
Now, there's some, like we've indicated, that might have been ambitious, and the reality is different. You've set a goal, COVID hits, and with all due respect, you won't be able to do that. So it's important to come and reflect and say, I might not have done, not at the end of the year, but even in the middle of the year,
Midterm,
or
yeah.
midterm, to see.
So you
this
don't
is
carry
where
a
I am.
dead weight all the way to the
You
end of
don't
the
carry
year.
dead weight to the end and say, this one, yes, it was good at the beginning, but the reality is different.
Yeah.
I'll drop that and focus on this one. So that at the end of the period, I can come back and say, yeah, while I dropped that one, at least I achieved ABCD.
All right, let's hear from you, Christine. Resolutions and, of course, the different spheres of life. Your family, farm, friends. Of course, we're looking more from a financial point of view. What are some of your tips when it comes to, setting financial resolutions for the year?
Thank you. Setting financial resolutions, like it is said, you resolve. I resolve to spend less than I earn. I resolve to save. And I resolve to save and invest, as opposed to save and let us spend.
More than you are saving.
Yes. I also resolve to match my savings to future expenditures.
All right.
So some of those are resolutions that you need to take at the beginning of the year. That what do I want my December 2023 to look like?
Yeah.
I begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
If I have that end in mind, then I say, if I want probably to buy a new car, and the car is going to cost me about 40 million,
Yeah.
how much do I have to put down every month?
monthly
And
basis.
also at times go on to break it down to smaller, biteable pieces. So, when you set your goals, it is for a year. Break it down to 12 months. Break it down to a month.
Yeah.
Break it down to a week. Break it down to a daily. So what do I have to do on a daily basis?
So that
for me
you
to
know when you go
get-
to Javas, you are eating your
Yes.
car.
Yes, you're eating part of your car, tire by tire.
The tires
you
are
start,
gone.
is it the nut you're starting with? So those are some of the simple things that you have to get.
Yeah.
The reality. And that is why we go back to the grow. What is a reality on ground?
Yeah.
If I spend out of that, I know, since I had not planned, I'd say probably every day I need to save about 5,000 shillings.
Yeah.
And every week I have to save 35. A month I have to save so much. And then in a year I'll have achieved so much. It will get me to my end goal that I have planned to achieve in December 2023. And so as everybody plans, starting out right in 2023, we need to know what we have to achieve in December 2023. Work backwards,
Yeah.
so that I will not go to Javas. I will not go to a nightclub. Even if I went to a nightclub, I have planned for that money for enjoyment. Let me just
However.
take one glass of wine as opposed to a bottle, as opposed to having a
And let me sip on it slowly.
Exactly for the 4 hours. I
And you
spent
was there.
Exactly.
Say, Chrissy, I'm okay. I'm
okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. No,
Because
no,
you
I
know
have
there
a
is a
headache.
car.
I'll take water. And you say, no, I'm not feeling well.
Kumbe,
I'll
there is
take-
no headache. But
It is just that you're
Well,
trying to work towards your goal. So that is one of the things that
Yeah.
I'll do, and that is how I would advise people. Break it down into a biteable
to a
pieces.
day, I like that you've broken it down from the months to the weeks to the day.
Exactly.
Almost to the
be
hour.
specific. Yes. If I know I'm going to eat probably a buffet costing 20,000, let me cut down so that I eat at commando 5,000.
If
And then
you
I
can
save
walk
the
instead of
15.
taking a board, I say, I will.
At times you also wonder about the shoes because the cost of replacing a shoe, it may be much higher than, getting
let
a
me
border.
just-
So
Yes,
work
Jeff.
around that.
It's interesting, even as we talk about the fact that if I want a car, let me do this, or if I want the roof on the house.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, life is, you only live once.
Let's
YOLO.
for the living,
The
yes.
57-year-old man knows YOLO, ladies and gentlemen. You only live once. Someone
live
said
once.
if the money cannot buy a car, eat it. It's too little. Just eat it. So
I'm not saying eat it
Hey.
all, but sometimes, even as we resolve to have some fun.
Hey.
Have some fun.
Not saying
Not
I have a
just,
headache all the time like Christine.
Let's not be too serious all life through. Have some fun. Sometimes go and burn it. And you
And say,
burn
I will
it
hustle
and you
next
say,
week.
The car
That's why
has
you
gone,
go
but
to
I
a
enjoyed it.
discotheque,
All
you
right.
go out and spend less.
Mm.
Instead of taking an Uber,
Yeah.
take a taxi.
Take a
take
taxi.
a border.
You'll still
So
reach.
instead of coming back at about 2 a.m. where I need an Uber,
Yeah.
I'll go back at 10 so that I can still use a taxi or a border. So those are some of the things you resolve to do to be able to achieve your end goal in December 2023.
So we need to be a bit realistic, yeah? So instead of, Jeff is saying sometimes don't take the border, take the Uber. Otherwise you may take an Uber when you come here, people say, hey, how do you know I live in Boate? Because you are full of dust and all of that. But there's a few specific questions that have started to come through, and I just want to throw those your way. Unless, Jeff, you have any other tips on resolutions? Yeah, so this one is to you, Christine, okay? My question is, how do you guide a lady, all right, who has a direction, a plan, she has a vision for her life, but the partner, whether it's the wife, husband or boyfriend or whatever, is really silent about the plans and direction, and is really not throwing in his weight? Do you drop him like the other ones who you dropped over? This is your partner now. What do you do when, as the lady, you feel, I want us to get somewhere? This is where I see us at the end of December. But Mwami,
Thank you, Ronnie. It depends on the stage of life where you are. Stage of that relationship.
yeah.
Are you married yet?
Oh, there are some you can drop. There are some where you are
You
stuck.
can drop and say, this one, no vision, I'll drop.
Some are
That is
droppable.
why Jeff's brother-in-law kept asking, what's his vision?
Does the boy
so
have a
that the
vision?
sister doesn't go into something without a vision. You want to go into an empty shell.
Yeah.
But you see,
25 years
well,
later, hopefully he's
exactly,
not
there was
droppable.
vision, yes. But some are already stuck in there.
Yeah.
What you could do for your partner, at times it's very important. You can approach it from the spiritual angle, whereby you talk to your pastor, you talk to your priest, you talk to your catex, your head of laity or
Yeah.
something like that. They counsel you.
Some counseling.
Yes, so that somebody can understand where you're coming
So a
from.
mediator, basically,
Yes,
a third
a
party to come
mediator.
through.
It may not be that, but you also, some people need
Yeah.
mentors. Get a mentor for your spouse,
Yeah.
if he's already a spouse, but some are not serious, so you can easily drop. But if you can't drop, try to improve on their ability, because some people are, you can help them create a vision
Yeah.
where there's no vision.
Do you think sometimes it's a case where the lady you have planned alone, you're chasing out until the man says, if you want, you go alone, and
It
so
also at times happens. Some of us ladies are very independent.
Okay.
We know what we want. And you have boyfriend, gentleman, spouse, or everything who is not as focused as you are.
yeah.
And you can feel really, this one is not taking me anywhere.
So check the reality on the ground.
Check the
Is this one
reality, and
droppable?
that is why you go back to checking the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
What are your opportunities? Is there a way you can get an institution, or you can get a coach, somebody to help that person
encourage.
professionally, to encourage them, somebody they can look up to?
Is there a friend who, who they
At
respect?
times, yes. At times you have mutual friends
Yeah.
who can be able to help you in a relationship. Invite somebody to help you in that relationship so that you can be able to grow and develop this person. There's a way you can work on people, and
Yeah.
some people can change. You may think you're going to drop somebody, but before you know it, he's moving along, or he's supporting you.
Yeah.
He may not have the vision, but he may be one of those people who can easily support you to achieve your vision. And some people can be detrimental when they pull you down. Try
Alright.
to assess where they
Jeff
are.
looks like
and
he wants
help.
to chip in there and speak on behalf of the men who are about to be dropped.
Before I speak on behalf of the men that are about to be dropped, what Christine has reflected, and especially that question, is a major challenge.
Yeah.
Part of my life, my wife, lead a marriage fellowship and do a lot
So
of,
these scenarios are before
do
you
a
all
lot
the
of
time.
marriage counseling.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges we're having is that we have very many young men who don't have a vision, and you have very young men, many men, or many young ladies who are very ambitious.
Yeah.
And this can cause strife in a relationship. Traditionally, it's expected that the man will have
man
the
should
clarity
push.
and should be
Yeah.
able to push. And then you get to a place where, with all due respect, there's been a lot of what has been said about the girl child,
Yeah.
with little about the boy child. And
So you have ambitious ladies
you
with
have
docile
ambitious
men.
with docile men. So it's
I
a
didn't want to
balance.
say that word.
I can speak on behalf of the men.
It's a balance that one needs to be able to see how you actually then manage that dynamics. And in some cases, like what's been indicated, yes, counseling might help. But in some cases, I've seen actually the lady take the lead, tough
Yeah.
as it might be, but to take the lead and help the family get to reality.
And hopefully the man will wake up along the way,
And
or
hopefully, with support, the man will also join the bandwagon and be
Yeah.
able to see. Because it's one of those, but it's a challenge. And it's something that, yes, maybe in a different forum, one can actually be able to look into.
All right, thank you very much, and I hope that is helpful. Please continue to send your questions through to the Q&A segment right there. You talked about dropping a business, or if it's dead, you drop it. And Cheyune here wants to know, David says, but dropping a company is losing social capital. Are you saying social capital and network is not good? Maybe you want to explain.
Losing a company is losing social capital? No, I wouldn't say it is, because on one side, it is not social capital. Depending on how the business connects,
Yeah.
you can be able to drop. Social capital, you can reinvent yourself and come out with something. Don't remain doing nothing. Reinvent. Don't just drop and remain waiting.
Yeah.
Probably these are the men that will be waiting for the women to help. We don't want to be in that bracket. Drop, but when you come up with something, businesses do change, they
Yeah.
evolve.
Yeah.
You remember when they abolished airtime? People used to sell
We
these
used to
airtime
scratch
cards.
and
Yes,
scratch.
you scratch and scratch.
Sometimes you scratch
It's
very hard
not
and you
any
scratch off a
egg.
digit, and
And then you can't use
then you can't use it.
Exactly. So we have people who lost business as they were printing those. People used to print those cards.
Yeah.
Business closed. You have to evolve. You have to look for new ways of how you can fit in the reality.
Yeah.
Reality is open these mobile money things, and then you can be able to load for people. You have float. I hear people talking about float. Go into become an agent so that you just have the float. We just have to reinvent ourselves. We cannot remain doing the same thing. Things have changed, and with the onset of COVID, so much has changed for us in that our minds keep thinking and thinking. So as we think, let us look at ways of how, when you close one business, you can probably upgrade it to do something else.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I used to work a lot, I'll see you at the Institute of Corporate Governance. We used to have physical trainings. But what happened? COVID comes.
You have
What
to
do
go
you do?
online.
We had to go online. It was hard for
Mute,
people
turn on
to
your
obtain-
video, what?
Exactly.
Eh,
I
we
can't
see you.
can't hear clear. What? So, but we're past that stage.
Yeah.
We went with the reality. We moved on. Physical trainings. Hotels lost business. The people supplying that are MTN was able to grow much better. So clearly, one loses, one benefits.
Yeah.
You change business lines.
So you need to be
Strategy
fluid and
changes.
able to morph
Exactly.
according to the times.
Yes, move,
Yeah.
Can I
yes,
just
Jeff.
make a comment on this? David Cheney asked the question, do you lose a business because of social capital? And I think that's a trap that we've had many times, that you've had a business and the business is a dead horse, but you're plodding this dead horse along.
And that's
The
really what I was
reality-
going to ask you. When do you know
the
it is
reality to actually be able to bite the bullet and say, this thing is not working and I'm going to close it? It's easier to close you and move on, is difficult. Because sometimes you talked about the neighbors. How can my business close? What will my neighbors say?
What will they say?
What will they say? Yet in reality, when you look at it, it's dead. I have a finance background, and how do you assess whether business is dead?
Huh?
The indicators from a financial perspective. In many cases, you're looking at the trend from a revenue perspective, and at times the cost of running the business is a lot higher than the revenue that business is generating. Now, this could be temporal, that in some months the cost of running is higher. But you are in a business where all indicators show it's dying. You are in the paper scratching business when people have moved on now to,
Yeah.
but you still want to hold
You
on
want
to
to
that
hold on to your
business,
paper.
to your paper. And I think that's where one needs to be. We do training, and we run a course, a program. It's with the University of Washington. We used to go to one of the institutes to put people into a hall to do the training. The reality came that even before COVID, they would struggle with traffic
With traffic jam
to
and all of
get
that.
to class.
Yeah.
But it was very nice running the physical class because you connected with them.
personal
It's
and-
personal and so on and so forth.
So you want to hold on to that as much
So
as you
want
can.
to hold on to that. But the reality is that we've moved on. We've found that by registering people online, people are convenient. They might be in the car driving with you, even here some kids,
Yeah.
but at least they're doing this program and it's giving them the convenience. So what Christine was referring to is that at times scan your environment and actually look at this business and say, is it just temporal that my expenses are higher than my revenue? Or is it a permanent trend? And if it's a permanent trend,
And something needs to change.
get out of that. It's a dead horse. Accept.
Wow,
Bury
you
the
need to
horse.
know when it's dead. It's like if you're going to ginger, because some people, the reason they stay is they have been at this grind for so long. I've put in so much energy to just allow. But you know, if you're going to ginger and you realize you're on Entebbe Road going the opposite side, you can't say, I've driven for 2 hours. I should just continue. And hopefully you get to ginger, you know, one way or another. So we have people across the spectrum, and somebody here is asking Jeff, you know, how best can I enter the work environment without experience? Because everywhere you go, people seem to want to know, what experience do you have? So what tips are you giving? You saw the biggest percentage of our team today is between 20 and 40. So it's quite a number of young people who are trying to, you know, get into the workspace. And as it is, jobs are probably harder to come by now than they were 50 something years ago when you were, you know. So what's your advice to Timothy over here?
I think to Timothy, and this applies to very many young people, how do you enter the workspace?
Yeah.
One of the things I've found that when I was at university, I had a they call it a vacation placement. It's a placement parole.
Yeah, an internship.
An internship. And one of the things that I found was very beneficial from an internship is that organizations found it easier to take you on because it was not a permanent commitment. It was like a courting process. If they liked you, they would hang on. If they didn't like you, when are your 2 weeks ending so that you can actually disappear? My advice is try as much as possible, even before you finished, to try and get a placement or to try and get somewhere where you can get your hands dirty. And by the way, many people think that it has to be in a professional aspect. I've found that when somebody applies themselves, we'd usually take on interns, and you find that one of the young ladies who's working for us is trained in finance or BCom or something like that, and was working in a shop. But what to me interested me is that she at least was applying and not seated at home
Doing
waiting
nothing.
for a job. Getting into a shop, and you ask her the question, so what would you pick up from that shop experience to see if there's something that you can actually look out for? So get anything and try and apply yourself. And in the process, when somebody asks you, so what have you done?
What have you been doing?
You don't say, I was seated at home watching.
was waiting for this interview.
You talked about season 1 or season 2. So whatever it is, just get your hands dirty. Get something that you can apply yourself to. And it becomes a reference point. And of course, where possible, try and then get into your own profession. Now, you talk about jobs. It wasn't even easy in my days. I remember I had qualified as an accountant. I did BCom here, then did SSC in the UK. But I was struggling. I was still doing my Uber job. And got to a point where I said, but what can I do? There was a crisis, and I could see that Red Cross was trying to solicit people to get in funds. And I said, if Red Cross, actually it was the genocide in Rwanda, so Red Cross was trying to put out to be able to support what was happening in Rwanda. So I said, if they're looking for that, they must be looking for somebody to help them count that money. So I said, went to Red Cross, put on my suit and said, can I volunteer?
Volunteer. That's the keyword I was looking for right there.
And okay, checked, and they actually offered me a job as a volunteer. Within 3 months, I had a permanent job. So what am I saying? Scan the environment and look for opportunities,
Yeah.
but also offer yourself out there so that you can actually be able to give somebody an opportunity to see your talent.
Wow, and that's really what I was looking for, the whole issue of volunteering, because we now have an attitude of wow, what are they giving me? What do I get in the short term? But to just go and say, you know what, I'm skilled in this area and I'd like to volunteer my time if you have room. And like you said, within 3 months, they saw you are equal to the task and put you on permanently. Yeah, Christine, you were
No,
chipping
I
in.
just wanted to note that being open-minded is one of the very important things.
Yeah.
Many of our youths are stuck to what they did. That I studied law, so I cannot do anything else. It has to be that.
Yeah.
Just be open-minded, because as you are there, you'll be spotted by somebody who will then offer you an opportunity in a legal firm. So it is important to remain open-minded if you want to grow and get something done.
All right, another specific question we have here from from Martin. Martin, how he was talking about his expectations from this discussion, and is hoping to learn how to identify viable business ventures and source of funding, preferably without interest costs, and how to evaluate the venture before commencement. It's quite a package that he's hoping to get from here. Are you able to give him some tips to be able to say, I was able to learn a thing or two in that regard?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we are coming from the banking and financial aspect. It
Yeah.
is something that we can offer. You said, Martin?
Yes, Martin.
Okay, Martin, trying to start a business. We have been talking about scanning the environment. What is trending? Look at where the interest rates are. That is one thing. What is NEMA saying? There's the environmental aspect, there's the environmental, social, and then the governance aspect,
Yeah.
the ESGs. What is existing? What are they abolishing? What are they introducing? What
Where's
is
the
coming
need?
up? NSSF is coming up with new areas. Of course, Loboa is already up and
Yeah.
running. There's, I think, Mbuya.
Chanja.
There's, of course, those are opportunities. If you can't invest there, like I said, shoot for the moon. If you don't reach there, you'll
hit
land
the
in the
trees.
stars.
Oh, the
Yes.
stars.
So it is very important that you begin there. But sources of funding, of course, you can source for funds from family and friends. And Sir Headmaster Sir said there's a time he was looking for 100 million. He had 100 contacts. He failed to get 5. So, if you're very lucky and you're not like him, you can be able to go within the family so that family can be able to help you. And you can also use savings. As you're looking at ways to raise funds to start a business, you can use savings. You can attract partners. You can decide to partner. As young people, like I told you, the way we started Greenline Investments.
Yeah.
We were a number of, well, we started 6. People drop off along the way. Then you carry on with your vision. And as I speak, we are now 2 because we have carried on the vision and they're saying we must win. So it is that you need to go up with. If you can't, you have seen the IPOs coming up. If you're big enough, treat it like an IPO. Call for funding. Put out what you're selling and somebody will come and buy. The money they bring in will contribute to your
push you.
capital. Yes, it will push you. So try to look at people coming in and contribute funding. You can also run to family and friends. They may want to invest in your venture. If you have a clear vision and the goals are clearly laid out, they may want to invest in your business. Do not struggle alone. We normally say OPM, other people's money. Try to use other people's money so that it's not only yours. We say high risk, high return, but try to spread the risk. If you spread the risk, you're going to get in more resources, and then you'll be able to start and you grow your business. So there are different ways: savings, family, IPOs, other investors coming in, and also borrowing.
Yeah.
But if you do not have capital, nobody's going to lend you.
Nobody's going to lend
And if your net worth is not good, nobody's going to look at you. So you can use all those ventures to raise money so that you can be able to start businesses. Start small, scale up, and then grow.
Just
All
a
right,
quick one
Jeff,
on that.
yes.
I remember listening to somebody who's started up. It's quite a big established business right now in Sams. I'm a Rotarian, so he's speaking to some of us as Rotarians. And his story resonates with many others. Many times, people want to start and they want to start big. They think that because I've done this, so let me hit it with a big bang. And you're looking for capital for something that's big. This gentleman who did narrate his story when he started Sams, that he started off as a small business and you'd get enough money to buy a jerrycan of oil or a jerrycan of ngan, something to be able to
Supply tomorrow.
to do tomorrow's items. And as we look at business opportunities, it's at different levels that you are. Assess yourself. Remember, we talked about the reality. Assess yourself and say, what can I actually start? If it means building it from the ground, do that. If you're at a different level, then look at those. I run a consultancy firm. I worked in the corporate world. The transition for me was to use some of the skills that I had actually built from the corporate world within the consultancy world. So it's different levels that you need to be. But I think assess, be realistic, and where possible, start small.
And I just want to hit you with this one from an anonymous attendee. Having come from the corporate world and, started your own consultancy, he would like to draw some wisdom from you. And his question is, I've obtained my 20% from NSSF and to start a pharmacy. What advice do you give me to be able to just weather that, season and hopefully have a thriving business?
I think it's exciting that when one has a business opportunity to be able to invest into it. And if you've indicated they've obtained their 20% and they want to start a pharmacy, my first question is, have you run a pharmacy before? The reason why I'm asking that is it's very easy when you have money that you've saved for 20 years or 10 years or whatever the amount, that ideas or business opportunities,
When the money is there.
when the money is there, are very exciting.
And they all
Even
look very...
when you look around, you see so many pharmacies and there's so many customers coming to pharmacies, and you think,
pharmacy.
chifuna chilalu, or whatever the word is. So you are excited.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking, ask yourself, have I actually done this? Because before you invest, know what you're investing in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not a bad idea. It could be brilliant, especially if you're growing the business, then it's even a better idea. So my advice is, as you go in, as you cash in to be able to invest, it helps when you know the business that you're in. That said, if you might not have all the skills, who are you partnering with? That's another advice I got. She talked about they started 6, now they're 2. When you're going into business, it's important who you're partnering with.
Yeah.
Because others might be partnering and they say, we go to the 20%. They've not even worked, but your 20% is
It's ours.
our 20%. And it's an amazing that if you're not careful, you can easily burn it out very quickly.
Yeah.
I would rather that look at it that if I didn't have the 20%, it's good that you have it. Where can I start that I can be able to sustain? What am I saying? Manage your costs. Yes, for a pharmacy, location is important. But locating yourself somewhere where it's so expensive that it's not sustainable means that very quickly, if anything happened to the business,
You run
you're
out.
closing, you're running out. So try and see how you, even the number of staff that you have, the number of people that you're putting in. So try and get these financial aspects into consideration so that you don't run yourself into a point where you're running out of yourself into a sink. So 20% wonderful, but know the business and make sure that as you go in, you've looked at the fundamentals. You're running your course not just because of this bonus that you've got that's going to boost you for a short period.
All right, thank you very much. In a short while, I can see Sir Headmaster Sir is sending us the basa. She'll be coming in a short while to just share a few things, but just one last one I want to throw in there. And someone is asking on the issue of lifestyle habits, and it's Paul saying the problem. There's a problem of habits that has hindered the majority of us from reaching our goals. Things like drinking, gambling, addiction. And he's asking if you have any advice. Do you want to speak into how does lifestyle, affect us financially, and what do you need to do and as far as lifestyle choices are concerned to be able to kickstart this year on the right foot?
Thank you, Ronnie. About lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back to the four quadrants in
yes,
life.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Where are you when you place yourself? Where are you? And that is a lifestyle. Those are the personal traits. Are you spiritually in 1, in 2, or 3? And you may be strong spiritually and you're in 4, but financially you're in 1.
So segment all of them and run them through the quadrant.
Yes, run through the quadrant. And know where are my friends? Try to place your 5 friends. Where are they? Because the 5 friends that you have are going to influence your lifestyle, are going to influence your behavior, and are going to influence how you progress from one quadrant to another. So it is very important that as you're sorting yourself, you also sort the people around
Environment.
you. Environment. So it is extremely important that you know, if my closest friend is spending half his money gambling, I'm likely to do the same. And what do you do by gambling? You're gambling. Gambling your month's salary away, thinking that you'll get more, or probably thinking that the accident is going to happen with the money that is gambled. Yes, on that collision. So it is very important that we scan the environment, we scan our friends, because they affect our lifestyle. If you have sorted them and they're falling within quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and that is where the majority of their aspects, their behavior falls, run away. Headmaster Sir told us, run fast and drop the company.
Drop the company.
Exactly. That is what you need to do. So lifestyle change is very important. And as you begin the year, this is the right time. Though it is halfway the month, try to re-evaluate your resolutions. Resolve to drop those people. Resolve to change your lifestyle, because your lifestyle will either help you save or help you go in a ditch. So for me, that is what I say. Re-evaluate your lifestyle, re-evaluate your company, so that you can be able to drop, for you to be able to grow. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Yes, Jeff?
Just a quick one. You've talked about habits and how you change habits.
That's right.
We talked about the fact that you're starting a new year, you've made a resolution, and part of the resolutions, usually you are focusing on something. I jog maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And I usually jog early in the morning, about 5 o'clock, so I have to get out of my bed and go outside. Now, what I've noticed is when I'm jogging is the first 20 minutes are so difficult.
You're grumbling. Say, but why am I
First of all,
suffering?
why do I need to
57-year-old man,
I
I'm
actually
here.
listen out and say, it seems like it's raining, so that I can stay.
Is that
so that I can
question?
stay.
Is it safe?
Is it safe, and so on and so forth. And usually what I do, I go get somewhere, do my sit-ups, then jog up the hill. And that first turn is difficult. But what I notice is when I come down the second time, the third time, the fourth time,
Big momentum.
It's actually a lot easier. So even as we talk about starting out right, there's some new habits that you need to start. And it's usually very difficult at the beginning.
Sure.
But take courage. As you go the second round, the third round, it becomes second nature. And then it's different.
Wow, very, very beautiful advice right there. We're not a vacuum. Even as we drop off all these habits, they need to be replaced with something. So drop off a gambling habit, pick on a jogging habit. Drop off a drinking habit, pick on, join a club, go to Toastmasters, or do something that's going to replace. But we have the Bassa herself joining us, Anna Marie, And I think she's going to be maybe bringing this to a wrap in one way or another. And when we return, I'll give you each a minute just to give us your final wisdom on starting out right in 2023. Anna Marie.
Um, Thank you very much. Thank you to the panel, and thank you for honoring our invitation. I don't take this minute of fame for granted. In the year where we all believe men are going to be less, and with our first statistic, it's kind of taking shape. Women have moved from 20% to 30%. So, men, should we worry or not? Just to ask one question that I read as I was coming here, and it was really interesting. Someone asked, maybe Christine, you can answer. Jeff told us to volunteer, and someone asked, at what age do I stop volunteering?
And what age do you start?
Thank you very much. And at what age does somebody stop volunteering? I believe when you are young, you can volunteer. And when you're old, you can also still volunteer. I'm a Rotarian. And at my age, I still volunteer to do so many things. So volunteering should never stop. At every stage in life, there are different needs. Once you scan the environment and you understand the reality,
Yeah.
you can either volunteer or you create your own job. So if you can't create your own, or if you can't be employed, go out and volunteer, and somebody will pick on you and give you something. For me, that is my take. I cannot stop volunteering if I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. So to give a brief recap from what I've picked out, number one, I liked what the headmaster said. So this year we are causing accidents on our accounts. Please be with me. Whoop, whoop. Don't run away. Let us cause accidents on our accounts. That means let us spend less than what we earn actually, or have more income streams that bring in more money than what you actually need. That is said on almost every financial literacy talk, and it never grows old, and yet we still don't do it. So the other thing that actually Christine said at the start, and it looked like it was summarizing almost everything that we're talking about, was the grow. When you listen to the entire conversation, everything kept coming in a different direction, but it was actually summarizing the grow. The goal, reality, opportunities that come your way, and also look forward. So when you look at everything that we've said, there's a time where someone said, Christine, you're telling us to drop company, but then there's the same company that is supposed to be social capital, and it said, and she answered by saying, drop the dead company, but as you drop, pick up the new company. So when you look at grow, or when you look at having your goal, when you see the company that is pulling you away from your goal, drop. When you look at the company that is pushing you to your goal, please pick it up. Pick me. I take people to their goals somehow. Also, there's something here that I wrote down. The last thing, probably to not take a lot of time, was Jeff said, who are you partnering with? And it still takes us to grow. The company you keep, everything that you keep around you actually matters, and it actually goes a long way into what you're trying to achieve. So as we are setting our resolutions, we are setting things that we want to achieve. We are setting all these goals, we're being ambitious, we want new jobs, we want to grow, we want more money, we want probably to get married, we want to do all these sort of things. But keep in mind that everything that you're doing, scan the environment, look out for the people that you're working with, who are you partnering with, and also take up the grow method. So I won't say much as I have so much to say, but we are soon ending. Only to, I've seen so many questions. I've been working in the background. I've seen so many questions on NSSF. And Jeff, I'm sorry, I'm going to put you on this, something that we hadn't discussed. But I just want you to talk about your employment a little, and the time when you picked your NSSF, and how good you felt when you picked your NSSF at that age. Because most of the questions I've seen were like, give me my money now, I have this amount of money and I have to invest it here, I saw this business opportunity. Just elaborate. Even when you were working, I'm sure you saw business opportunities. Why didn't you think about coming for your NSSF, or why didn't you pay the NSSF to actually give you money? But you actually chose to wait. And when you waited, how fulfilling was it to pick your money at the age that we actually put across? Thank you.
Thank you. As indicated, I worked for a corporate world. I had the opportunity that during the process of my employment, you had opportunities to earn reasonably well. And that gave me an opportunity that even as I saved with NSSF, it was a reasonable amount of saving. Now, two things. Maybe because I have a finance background, I did realize that many times money is tempting. There's something that they say in my language that when you have money, your hands are itching.
Your hands start to itch.
There's itching, and the funny thing that I also realize is if you have 1 million shillings and you remove 1 shilling, it's no longer 1 million. It's 999,000 or something. So, having worked and developed different opportunities, invested in different opportunities, it gave me a chance that when the rightful age came and I was eligible to be able to collect my NSSF, I had tested out different opportunities on where I could actually be able to invest this. My thinking was that I don't want to take this and just put it, I want to put it into something that it can generate more than what NSSF was doing. Now, I'll be honest with you, NSSF has been giving a huge interest. You might look at it and say it's 13%. What is 13% or 11%? But for lack of better words, a risk-free, that is a reasonable item. Now, picking this and being able to invest into something I had already developed was beneficial in that you could actually be able to see that that came out of NSSF. And
it pushed me this far.
It pushed me to another level, that it's generated something else that can now generate income and give me that benefit. I've had other friends who've actually collected, and I've been very careful that be careful, because when you get this check, however big it is exciting. The hands start itching.
Ideas.
But my key advice is plan for it before you get it. Ideas come, and even people plan for it. So be careful. The company that you've talked about, that who are you with, and make sure that even before it hits your account, at least you have an idea what you're going to do. I like the 20%. We talked about somebody starting a pharmacy. Hopefully you've run that business before, or you have something and this is just boosting it. In my case, having invested it, and when I invested it, I also didn't invest it just into one thing. It was a bit of a portfolio. That's what NSSF does. It gets our money. People say our money.
And spreads it.
Spreads it. The reason why you spread it is to manage the risks.
Yeah.
That if something happens with this, at least it's something else. In my case, it didn't just go into the consultancy firm. It went into other items. It went into real estate. It went into different aspects. And I'm glad to say that it was exciting, and I don't regret, because at least I've seen it push me to another level and then start generating, and those other opportunities start generating income. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the one who said those words. It's Jeff, as a beneficiary of the NSSF. So we don't say these things because you're employed by NSSF. At least we had an opportunity to have someone to show today who has actually benefited from the NSSF. So Ronnie, you can do your conclusion, and then I'll sum it up all up at the end.
All right, thank you so much. And my job really is simple. I want to give you each 45 seconds. I know I'd said 60. It's gone down to 45 to give us a wrap up on what, if there's anything they forgot, this is the thing they should remember. What is your parting shot for kickstarting the year right? I was going to say ladies first, but she has said gentlemen just before. So Jeff, over to you, sir.
Great opportunity. Each year gives us an opportunity. It's another page that's actually been opened. 2023 is here, and my advice is that embrace it. Have a goal. Make sure it's realistic. Walk the journey and periodically evaluate yourselves. Have a goal that builds you, but also have a goal that gives you fun, that enables life to be worth living.
Yeah.
And as you do that, make sure that your family, and from a spiritual aspect, connect to your God.
All right, brilliant. And Christine, what are your parting shots?
My parting shots today, as we start the year,
Yeah.
I'd like us to reevaluate using the 4 quadrants. Let us try to place ourselves. Then it will help us know where we're going. Set realistic goals and apply the GROW model, because then it is the guiding factor that is going to lead us where we want to go. But amidst all that, we need to eat healthy, we need to exercise, we need to connect socially, and we need to connect with our God, because it's the Almighty who is the guiding factor in whatever we do. I'd like to thank NSSF for giving us the opportunity to share today, and also as we enable others to build and improve their financial adherence. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. And I'll also just throw in mine right there. I don't know where I read it, but the person who said it in a Nigerian accent. It's only a fool who does the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So don't expect to do things different. Different results in 2023 if you're going to carry on, repeating the same issues. Hopefully you can pick the wisdom from here that we've shared. The acronym GROW has stood out today, and lots of other wisdom that has come through. So change things so that you can have a different output. Over to you, Madame Basa. Madame, sorry, not sir.
I like the bus. Hey, even the size good. Just one more question to all of you, the panelists. Just share one book that we can leave to our audience to take them through this year. Just one, each one. Thank you.
For me, one of the books that stands out is Good to Great. And one of the phrases there, that good is the
enemy
of great. So my charge to you is work out and see how you move from good to great.
Thank you. From the same book, I pick the Blue Ocean Strategy, but that is it. Mine is Think and Grow Rich, because that is a book that helped me move from being employed to being an employer. Thank you.
Wow. From the same book, I picked the hedgehog theory. I think I got that from that particular book. But the book I'll advise for you is Eat That Frog. And it talks about... Look for it, I forget the author, but it's just really about priorities and saying, start with the big things first. Sometimes we're too busy doing things that don't matter, but start with the important things first and then, scale down. So Eat That Frog.
Thank you so much, our panelists. Thank you for according us your 2 hours to be with us today. And to our dear participants, thank you so much for sparing your 2 hours and your data to actually join in today. Today we had a whooping close to 1,000 online viewers on Zoom and about 100 on YouTube and many more on Facebook and Twitter, and that we don't take for granted. But as we consume this information, all this wisdom, all this knowledge, let us work to actually making a difference in our lives. Now, it doesn't really matter for you to just keep listening, keep collecting all the knowledge, but your life stays the same. That's what Ronnie tried to say. Only a fool would expect results from something they keep doing over and over again. So, to conclude this off, I would say, let's cause accidents on our accounts this year. Let us scan the environment. Let us try to gain as much experience as we can from anything that comes your way. It doesn't have to really be a job in a big company. Let us be open-minded and let us exercise the GROW model. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year, and let's meet again in February to learn more about money. Thank you. Good evening.